Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge me. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge me. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know we just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick.
What is up, Internet? It is your Headmaster here at the Gaming Academy. What is up? It is GQ Asian Dude, and I'm back. And something's a little different today. If you don't know what it is, keep it to yourself or put it in chat, because there could be anything that could happen in the show, especially this week when a bunch of stuff is happening. But for now, the class is in session. Unfortunately, tonight, Nick couldn't make it, but hey, he's here in spirit. But welcome back to the Gaming Academy, where we break down gaming not just as entertainment, but as education. You're going to learn something today. Of course, I'm your Headmaster tonight. We got a class that hits at the core of what we do here, because today's lesson is simple but powerful. Why gaming still matters. We're diving deep into the industry with a brand new Headmaster's Desk, where we examine the shifting power of publishers and what that means for the future of gaming. Then we take a trip to, of course, through time with Memory Card Chronicles, reliving the moments that shaped us as players, because understanding where we've been helps us understand where we're going. And finally, we step into the final boss, not before we do the watchdog with Oliver here, giving us some tips and tricks on the new deals for all the games that we love, and getting a hit final boss after that. So remember, stay tuned, because here at the Academy, we don't just play games, we study them. We learn from them, and we level up because of them. This reminds me of the lyrics of the beginning of the show. Check it out. Sit back, lock in, and let's begin class 70. All right, I'm going to let in the faculty here so I can run back to the office and get ready for the Headmaster's Desk. So, guys, come on in, say what's up to everybody, and tell them how your week was.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, we're running a little light on the roster today, but it doesn't mean we don't have quite the packed show for you. I mean, you know how we do it here on campus. What we may lack in quantity on some days, we're still bringing quality, and this week's going to be no exception. But speaking of this week, as far as what's been going on with me, I have been playing a lot of BlazBlue Entropy Effect X. Fighting games turned roguelikes is kind of my new addiction.
As far as my week went, I keep coming back to Ball Pit. What a game. What a game. It's a game that plays itself. I could just be doing other stuff, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm the best.
It already does play itself.
It literally plays itself, and I love that. Oh, if I pick up, oh, look, you got a whole bunch of resources, and then I'll, dink around with that for a couple hours. Finally figure out how to deal with that 10-star Gogmazios in Monster Hunter Wilds. So I've been taking people through that. That's a tricky fight. That's woo.
Yeah, I saw like I remember that stream where oh my god, I forget who it was, but one of the new guys mentioned that whole trick with the immunizer and the mending mantle.
Right, that was crazy.
I was
I
having
was
a
like,
look
oh,
into
I
it.
can just stand in lava and live. What a concept, right? But no, it was really smart. So people have come up with some tricks, and I really, I'm personally divided on that fight. Like, I feel like it's an unnecessary fight. Like, all it gives you really is a nameplate. There's no need to put yourself through that kind of pain. But it's also nice as a way to gauge your skill and your progression, and to actually see how much you've grown as a fighter and a hunter more than anything else. That's the true value to me.
Makes sense. I mean, I was really thinking about it, and I'm gonna be real with you. Just facing off against the 10-star Apexes and Arkveld, I feel like that right there is like that is the end game for me. I'm not too particularly interested in doing proof of a hero. I mean,
Proof of a hero is good. It's good as a just good old fashioned knockdown slugfest. Hey, be on top of everything you learned up to this point. You're gonna put into play right here. But honestly, I think people should stop there. Like we'd be like, hey, there's a 10-star Gogmaster. So I'm like, don't fuck with that guy. You leave him. You know what?
fair
Take
enough.
take take this little bag of donuts, hand him his fucking Dunkin' Donuts, and send him on his way. You'd be like, I'm not gonna mess with that, right? Like just leave. And I'm saying that as someone who's been doing this for over 20 years. I'm going, no, you don't need to do that. If you need to prove to yourself that you're capable, right? If you need your proof, then by all means go get it. But don't slam your head against the wall on this fight thinking that you must do this or you haven't complete. No, look, raw truth. I still can't solo that fight. My strategy is sound, but I just can't. Oh, nope, even I can't do it. It's like and just as a way to give you an idea of the problem, I wouldn't look on Steam. It's nothing but people- it's just wall after wall, page after page, people infuriated that this fight is basically not solo. Even with NPC participants, do not they don't put up enough of a score. I wouldn't be surprised if that fight gets attached. It's a little bonkers. Like I only saw like 3 or 4 people like yeah, it's over. Leave it there. You have my
Right. I mean, in the meantime, I mean, oh, next time I get the chance to actually jump on and run some hunts with you, I do want to show you a particular armor set that I had been tinkering around with. I'll still need to like level it up with the armor spheres, but
Mhm.
let's just say mutual hostility combined with Gravios's flawless barrier.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
for some interesting stuff.
Because mutual hostility is just fun. I love it. I love it. It's like monsters get agitated, and they're all fuck you, and now you're going fuck you too. I'm all here for it. I'm totally there for that. Any time we can flip the script back on them.
I
No,
mean,
I love to see it. I'll take a look. I want to see. I'm interested.
yeah, hell, I'll probably like pop on for a couple of hunts after the show just so you can take a look.
It's cool. Oh man, the deals this week are so good. The deals this week are so good. I can't wait till we get to those.
Oof. Yeah, just that one that you mentioned while we were getting everything prepped and ready to go. Man,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not the biggest fan of that series. It's just never been something for me. But oh boy. But anywho, aside from that, let's see. Aside from Blaze Blue, well, I've just been kind of neck deep in roguelikes and Muso.
You know,
So
see, once I get everyone on the roguelikes, man, I'm like, oh, they're the best. You just keep playing. They just go on forever.
I mean, the one that, well, again, the one that really got me started was, oh God, this was, I want to say back around 2020 while I was still out in Texas, but I actually started with Hades.
Yeah, yeah, no. Hades, it took a while for it to grow on me. It took a little bit, but then when it did, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm picking up what you guys are putting down. Okay. But, I love the fist weapons. I know you love the fist weapons.
Oh, you damn right.
I know you do. But the lack of a rapid fire option on that, right? Like just absolutely destroyed my thumb. I was like, yo, I can't. But it's the best weapon in the game, right? Just like, oh, if I could just because you got to drill that bad boy. But no, it hurt me.
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
I'm hearing something.
School, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Doing
ma'am.
it all right?
Did you just say yes, ma'am?
I did.
Oh no.
We'll see you in the office here.
I'm gonna get suspended.
Ooh, you're in trouble.
All right, chat. Well, we're here again. We're back with another Headmaster's Desk. Of course, this is the segment of the show where you submit what you want us to talk about. And man, there is a lot to talk about this week, but we do have to get caught up. This week's submission is from our community member, Jagos, of course, because we love this guy and he loves to give us news. He is dropping off something last week called When Publishers Lose the Plot. And I thought this was very interesting and very thoughtful. And Jagos, this one's for you, bud. Here at the Gaming Academy, the Headmaster's Desk is where we take a moment to look at gaming from a wider lens. Not just the games we play, but the industry that creates them. And today's discussion comes from a thoughtful submission from our Discord community. One of our members pointed out something interesting. They noticed the connection between the last few topics we've discussed here on the desk. And that connection is the changing role of publishers. The submission put it like this. Publishers of the past had a lot of dominance in the industry, but in this generation, they're losing it. And when you stop and think about it, that observation isn't entirely wrong. For decades, publishers were the power centers of the gaming industry. They funded projects, they controlled distribution. They decided what games even had a chance to exist. But the industry we see today is very different from the one that builds companies like Sony, Sega, or even the giants of the 2000s. Because the cost of making games has exploded. Modern AAA development cycles can run 5, 6, sometimes 7 years. Budgets reach hundreds of millions of dollars. And when the investment gets that big, something starts to happen. The risk becomes terrifying. Our community member pointed out to a few recent examples. Publishers like NetEase stepping away from projects tied to major creative figures like Casey Hudson or Toshihiro Nagoshi. Not necessarily because the ideas were bad, but because the timeline and cost became too large. In the modern investor-driven industry, long timelines are dangerous because investors don't always reward patience, they reward predictability. And this creates a strange tension in gaming today. On one hand, publishers say they want innovation, but on the other hand, innovation is risky, and risk is expensive. So instead of bold new ideas, the safest path becomes what? Sequels, remakes, live service models, and proven formulas. Now, the submission also pointed out to another interesting example. The big boy of this generation, Sony. For many years, Sony had an enormous amount of influence in the industry. A powerful console ecosystem, strong first-party studios, a reputation for ambitious cinematic games. But even Sony is feeling pressure today. Competition from PC. Changing player habits. and the possibility that platforms like Valve's ecosystem could challenge traditional console dominance. And the submission ends with a warning. Once players realize they have options, the migration won't be pretty. Now, that may sound dramatic, but it does highlight something important. Because gaming history shows us that no platform stays dominant forever. Not Atari, not Sega, not even Nintendo during the Wii U era. Every generation shifts. But here's where this conversation connects back to the philosophy of gamer quotient. Because if you look closely, the real strength of gaming has never come from the publishers. It's come from developers and the players. Developers who take risks, players who support the experiences they believe in. Some of the most influential games in the past decade didn't come from massive publisher pipelines. They came from smaller teams with strong ideas. Games like Hades, Stardew Valley, Undertale, and Hollow Knight proved that creativity can still shape the industry, not just budgets. So maybe the real question isn't whether publishers are losing power. Maybe the real question is who defines the future of gaming? The investors, the publishers, or the creators and players who actually love the medium? Because history suggests something very clear. When the industry forgets why people fell in love with games in the first place, someone new eventually shows up to remind them. And maybe that's the real lesson from today's desk. Gaming has always evolved. Platforms rise, publishers fall, but creativity has a funny way of surviving all of it. So class, keep watching the industry, because sometimes the biggest changes in gaming aren't happening on the screen. They're happening behind the scenes. All right, panel. That was a pretty powerful Headmaster's desk. I would love to hear what you guys think.
I mean, honestly, just thinking back to that one comment, when players, when the players realize they've got options, the migration won't be pretty. And I legitimately cannot think of anything more. I can't think of a more sage and useful warning than that. Because I mean, like, sure, while competition between consoles is fine, there's part of it is this push towards all digital. It's like towards all digital media. So, a lot of hardware is likely to go by the wayside pretty soon. But even then, when you've got ecosystems that are still comparatively consumer friendly, like Steam, it's definitely gonna put in bold print the writing that's on the wall.
Alrighty. Oliver?
This is always a tough subject. It's just historically, it's been real tough. I understand both positions. I've always understood both positions on this, and this makes people very angry, right? We love games. We love this industry. I've loved this industry since I was a little boy, right? Since I was 4 years old, I've been playing games, and I have no intention of stopping anytime soon, right? But as I got older, I came to realize that this is a business, and this is a business that is designed to make money, right? Now, if we're having a good time with that, that's a bonus, right? But their aim is to make things that are fun and are valuable to people. And so we kind of hit this tricky spot where we're trying to figure out, okay, are we, how much risk are we taking, right? Innovation is necessary. It absolutely must be at all times, because that's how stuff dies on the vine if you're not doing something new with it, right? But at the same time, just as you've already stated, these budgets are getting so big and so out of control. They're spending so much on ad revenue that I think a lot of people making games now either forgot or they weren't there when they realized that so much of this is some of the best games and some of the greatest successes in this industry don't come from some ridiculous marketing campaign. They don't come from, you know, bean counters, you know, sitting there and crunching profitability. Sometimes, most times, the real strength and real success comes from someone doing something completely off the wall, unexpected, against the norm, going against the grain, all that stuff. I mean, fucking Vampire Survivors, man. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming at all, right? Like, what a ridiculous concept. But it worked, and we all got it. And now everyone else is having to go, huh, this guy spent like $76.22 to make this game, and now he's a millionaire. Or, you know, Notch in Minecraft, right? The real low quality looking, but no, there's a huge depth and all that. That innovation, right? We need those indies. We need those indies to continue doing what they're doing, because it reminds the big dogs that, oh yeah, yes, you're here to make money, but you're only going to make money if people are having fun, and that's if you're doing something new and interesting and unique. And if you don't, you're going to find out how market forces work. And that's basically what it comes down to. It's like, oh, you know, I think Ace has heard me say this one plenty of times. Back in the day, I would say, look, it's easy. If you don't like it, don't show up, don't buy it, and they'll get the message, right? People wanted to be so angry, like they wanted to go out and do something. I was like, no, all you have to do is nothing. Don't show up, don't buy the game, don't talk about it. And if enough people do that, they don't have any choice but to pivot. And people objected to this, and I said, listen to me, okay? I was like, if you went to a restaurant, and every time you went to that restaurant, they spit in your food right in front of your face, and then you gave them money for that, and then you're mad. I'm like, why do you keep going back to that restaurant? Like, just don't go to the restaurant. Like, that's it. That's all that needs to happen. People just are going to have to exercise some self-control. Publishers meddle, and they get in the way a lot. They do. But the easiest way to send a message to them is to not participate in that system, whatever it is that they're doing. Just stop showing up. And if enough people are fed up and frustrated, you know, things change. One thing I said, and I'm going to stop talking here, is we live in an attention economy. We're way past money at this point. How everything works online, hell, that's how this show works. Okay, we want your attention for a certain amount of time, right? And everyone has limited time, and everyone is trying to figure out the best way to spend it. So that's the thing that you need to be kind of looking at, is how much is my attention worth, right? Not just how much money comes out of your pocket, but there are so many other things you could be doing with your life, and you don't need to waste it on something that's frustrating you or making you upset or making you angry or any of that other stuff, right? Just bring it back to that. Is this worth my time and attention? If you treat your time and attention as the most valuable thing in the world, the quality of your entertainment is going to go up, and as well as the rest of your life too. So that's my thought on that.
Facts. I agree. I think time is also a resource you can never get back. So it is the most valuable thing that you would have in your life's inventory. Absolutely. Yep. So well said. Well said. I want to compliment and add a little bit more to the Headmaster's desk this week, because something huge in the internet happened over the last couple days. Now that's I believe is called NVIDIA's DLSS 5. It's been a big topic, and I want to cover that a little bit on the Headmaster's desk, because Andre Venom 95 did submit a last-minute submission for that. So I would love to hear everyone's thoughts on this, because, oh boy, it has been the meme central of the last couple days. Thoughts, guys?
I like Ace's take first.
Well, I mean, I saw the little presentation that they put up with the whole, DSS all 5, or I forget. I keep getting the initials mixed up, but the whole thing with, actually utilizing it's basically visual fidelity. It's basically AI upscaling from what I've seen of it thus far. And if I'm being honest, I don't really feel like it's necessary at this point. I feel like we still have yet to really push the limits of what's available. And the further that this whole graphical arms race continues, there's going to be more focus put on that and not so much on the actual quality of what's coming out. I mean, maybe it's just me.
Um, you know, I'm looking at it like, okay, so little micro story, super micro story. I was spent some time talking to Ace on the phone a few months ago, teaching him about AI stuff and everything that I've learned in the past 4 or 5 years and how to use that, and being able to show him how useful of a tool this is. Right. So when I look at this, I'm looking at it from a different point of view with comparatively speaking, a deep amount of experience. Not as experienced as people making AI stuff, but just as the guy on the end that's actually utilizing the tool in a real way. Um, and just like with all AI, I still have mixed feelings about AI. I'm going, this is an incredibly useful tool. This also has a huge destructive quality to it. Just not even talking about DLSS 5, but just AI in general. It's like, ooh, it's like the scales problem. We could do really good things. We could do really awful things here. It's like a knife. The same knife that you use to prepare a meal can be used to kill somebody, right? It's all in how the tool gets used. I looked at that, what they showed, that trailer of stuff, and that Resident Evil blew my brains out. That was amazing looking. I was like, yo, right? And it was like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. And then I realized why I want it. Because I don't want my fucking games to be over 200 gigabytes to install. That's why that's why I want DLSS 5. Because if you can go, hey, we can upscale the look, we can make things look better, and it doesn't take more resources, actual assets to do so, great. Because holy Moses, these games are getting too freaking big, and anything that can increase quality, right, without burdening me further, I'm for it. But on the flip, I looked at that and said, this is AI upscaling, and it's interpreting what it sees. And it's very good at it. It's very good at this stuff. I've seen it. But my question then becomes, we saw that little bit of it from Resident Evil, right? And we saw that grace. But if it's doing this in real time on each machine, are we all going to see the same grace, or are we going to see a different variation on that? Am I going to have gameplay footage that looks dramatically different than, say, Ace's gameplay footage? Are we actually going to splinter the experiences? And I'm just saying this from the perspective of, I know the randomization and things like that occur. I don't know. I like, if they're going, no, it would be consistent across the board because, yada yada yada. Here's particular hooks that developers can put in to ensure that kind of consistency. Great. But I'm saying I don't know. Maybe it's going to do some weird nonsense that we don't need to deal with, right? But I'm just like, I'm interested. Show me something different, right? Go ahead and show me something, because clearly, boy, they kick that quality up real quick. And normally when someone's like, yes, let's talk about ray tracing and all that, and I'm like, you all did all that shit just so I could see Spider-Man on the window. I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm swinging. I'm busy, right? I don't care about looking at his reflection in a window. But then when they're like, hey, we're almost at photorealism, I'm like, oh, this is about to get real interesting real quick, right? So I'm mixed on it. I want to see where it's going, but I'm cautious, right? I think it's neat, but I'm wary. right? You don't have to be one or the other. You can go, there's something interesting and possibly something awful happening over here. Let's watch and see what happens. It's like watching a kid try to ride a bike for the first time. You know his ass is going to crash. You know he's going to crash. You be like, ooh, you start taking bets. $5 to see if he's going to hit that tree or not, right?
Okay,
But if
okay,
he gets it, we're loving to see it.
okay. Let's narrow that down. It'd be like watching me ride a bike for the first time. Y'all heard the story. If you haven't, I'll dumb it down for you. I racked myself on the handlebars and fell on a cactus.
Yeah, clip that.
And there you have it.
Were you learning how to ride a bike in the desert? Like,
San Bernardino, California.
okay.
And my first time on a bike was actually my brother's mountain bike. I'm like 3.5 foot tall.
Yeah, you went expert right away. You picked the slider on the bike that was like max difficulty.
He legit sat down and turned himself into Spiny from Super Mario Brothers.
Look, I swerved to avoid a light pole.
You know what? It might have been better to hit the pole.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if I'd have hit the pole, I would have probably just fell over. But no, I hit the tree and literally like lurched forward and went crotch first into the handlebars and then fell to my left onto a patch of cacti.
So Blue Riot Bot does have some good input there in the chat. Like the DLS S5 images took 25090s to generate, and he says, yeah, so this will shrink file sizes are not true. Personally, I cannot contest that, or do I have enough information about that? So I don't know. My thought on the whole thing, the whole filter for this thing was, hey, if it looks better, awesome, but better is interpretive to a lot of people, right? So beauty is in the eye of the beholder, guys. So not everybody will appreciate or like it. As long as it's Switch, it's not mandatory. I think it should be okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and compare this situation, the DLSS 5, to the pixel blending filter in emulation. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you've ever emulated a Super Nintendo game, there's a blending mode on there that blends all the pixels together, and not everybody likes that, including myself. So that's kind of how I see this, right? Now that what I'm talking about is a very simple form of this. It's a filter that makes the pixels look better, right? But I prefer the original. That's a preference. Now the other flip side of this as well is, if one's issue with this is the what do you call this? The application of AI on people's hard work. I think a lot of people have an issue with that. For the sake of being upset because of that reason is what I'm kind of gathering from a lot of people. It's downplaying a lot of people's work. I've watched Maximilian's video about this. He's an artist himself, right? He talks about that, how he doesn't like that because of that. It downplays a lot of people's work, and keep in mind too, a lot of companies are already leveraging AI to make their games. Now this is just more AI on AI, right? To me, I believe that I'm quite a purist on the vision of the director and the producer, how characters look like. And if they wanted Grace to look a certain way without those filters, great, right? But if these filters increase the fidelity and like the lighting to make it more photorealistic, which makes them look a lot different from the original design, to me, I think that's once again a personal thing for that person that may not care or do care about the original philosophy behind the look of the character or the game itself. That beauty is in the eye of the beholder is really what I'm saying for this filter, personally. Wait, any other takes?
It's so tricky. It's so tricky. Like same thing. Just looking at the commentary, do I know for a fact that it's going to make file sizes small? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is they won't have to create assets that are just ballooning out of control. What I'm talking about is like Red Dead Redemption 2, which I consider one of the greatest games ever made, one of the best looking games of all time, right? But if you're able to use something like this, we're able to save money in some really interesting and creative ways. Like I looked at that, and here's the discussion my wife and I had earlier. She said, "Imagine what that would do to Star Wars Galaxies." And I said, "Ooh!" I sat back. I was like, "Oh yeah, that game is so freaking old at this point." Like, and when you're handing these things off to a video card, right? When you're handing that off to the video card, it's literally it's handing it off to a separate computer. I'm not sure if people actually understand that, but that's why video cards are so freaking expensive, because they are in effect their own microcomputer, right? And it's handing this part off so that your machine doesn't have to do nearly as much work, right? And I look at that as a great way to go, man, you might not even have to get double dipped on a remaster. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of crazy. Again, I want to see more. I need to know more before I have like a firm set opinion. But it's like, I wonder what this could do to older titles, right? That have enough graphic fidelity that you definitely know what you're looking at, and the AI doesn't have to do guessing, because we all have seen when AI guesses, it's horrifying. It's the worst thing you've ever seen.
I think the best way to describe what happens when AI guesses is it's eldritch.
It definitely goes rogue, 100%, all the time.
Right.
Corral it back.
Right. Your GPU just woo. It gets crazy. It gets real nuts. And so I'm just looking at that going, I think it would be interesting to see. I think right now, this is the only firm opinion that I have. And my firm opinion is that people rush way too quickly to have a firm opinion about things they don't even fucking know, right? We don't know. We don't have our hands on the technology. We've just been told that it exists. And I am going, that's really interesting looking. I can see what you're doing. I can actually see it. I've heard about, when DLSS and what is the AMD version?
Oh yeah,
I forget what it's called.
I had that in my head for a second. I lost it.
Right. It's just, but I've seen when that goes wrong, and people aren't wrong when they're like, "Hey, look at this one frame. This thing looks all fucked up." Yes, but it's one frame. It's one frame out of, when you go, "Oh, we're running 200 frames a second," and I'm going, "You saw that one frame out of 200, right? Are you going to make that your entire existence?" I'm just saying, and this is it. This is the point that I'm making. I'm watching people get really pedantic over what is, comparatively speaking, a minor error that is occurring in the visual for literally the most briefest moment of time. Meanwhile, my ass grew up in the 80s. Most of the time when I was watching TV, there was some static involved in that process, right? It was not it's not what they filmed. It's not what they wanted to show me, but that's how I was seeing it. So, and combine that with the fucking Highlander, which I can't watch the regular Highlander anymore on Blu-ray. Do you know why? Because in the finale for that shit, after he kills the Kurgan and he's he's got the prize and he's doing the quickening, I can see the damn strings hanging off my man as he's floating up there. I can't watch it anymore. I'm like, oh no, HD was a mistake. So what I'm saying is my tolerance levels for errors are different based on a fuller, more lived life experience, right? I'm going, yeah, sometimes shit's gonna look weird, right? Like whatever. Like as long as the overall thing looks better, then I'm gonna accept it to a certain extent, right? But I am dead serious. Don't watch Highlander. Don't make yourself sad.
I think really to sum up my words on it, actually, like to sum up my whole sentiment on it, I think actually, hell, let's just point to what Andre said in the chat. The tech needs time to catch on before it gets better.
Yep.
Give it room to breathe. Let it cook. Let what we've got cook.
It'll only get better. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're still trying to sell a product. 100%. All right, guys. Well, keep your thoughts there. Put it in the chat there. It would give us your thoughts on the DLSS 5, and what's your favorite meme about it? Because the memes have been coming in hard, and they've been hilarious.
Spicy.
They've been hilarious. So, all right, Ace, introduce us to our next segment while I jump right back into the stonk room to join.
Will do. So it's passing period in between classes, and for this next period, we're going to take a look back through the last week. So everybody, strap yourselves in. Miss Frizzle's pulling the bus around. But in Memory Card Chronicles, y'all know the drill. Well, we're going to be taking the class on a trip through an entire week of gaming history. Every day of this current week features a game handpicked by one of your faculty here on the screen. Together, we revisit 7 days worth of legendary releases, seismic industry shifts, like what we were just discussing, personal stories, and the moments that made gaming history unforgettable. Now, we've got it laid out pretty much the way we have the last couple of weeks, where, each of us, one of us is going to highlight one game from a specific day over the course of the week, and we'll go into a little bit more discussion on that. With that being said, it's still just two of us. Someone's tardy. But you know what? Since I'm starting off this week, let me just go ahead and get right down to it. We'll make sure that the headmaster can make it in the middle of the action, in media res, as it were. Oh, never mind. He's here. Perfect.
There you go.
So,
right on time.
To start this week off, March 15th, y'all, I'm choosing violence.
Oh boy, here we go. But wait, no, hold on. When have you ever not chosen violence?
That's true.
I played The Escapist with you. Okay.
Oh my god!
I remember you beating people up with soap in a sock. That's all you did. I was over here trying to be a mastermind. I was Andy Dufresne. Okay, I was trying to Shawshank my way to freedom, and Ace was just like,
I was Rorschach.
He was just beating people nonstop. It proved a good distraction, right? Because nobody was looking at me digging a hole in the ground with a spoon. But like, okay.
It's like, oh no, Ace has a spoon. He's gonna do something with it. Meanwhile, Oliver's over there like halfway through the gate, busting out. But to get back on topic here, though, unfortunately, for Terry Bogard's birthday, March 15th, we're talking about Musashi Samurai Legend. Like I said, I'm starting off choosing violence. But there is a specific reason why I bring this up as my MCC entry for this day. And it's quite simple. I remember actually sitting down and giving this game a shot. I wanted it to be good. I was really, really locked in on the original Brave Fencer Musashi. I still am to this day. And even after beating the game like the first 2 times, I thought, how would it be to actually continue that story? Like if Musashi was still in the all-you-can-eat empire, or if he wound up going back to his world. What happens next? I sat down with Samurai Legend Musashi. I can think of a handful of games that I returned as fast or faster than I did Samurai Legend Musashi. One of them being Soul Calibur 5. But this right here taught me a major lesson about being more discerning about my purchasing choices. You could say it is a lot like like Andre said, it could be a lot like Chrono Cross, in that there was an expectation based on the first game, and when people finally picked it up and started playing it and got taken for a ride, they weren't too pleased with it. So, if you've got some footage to throw up there, please, by all means, show. I'm sorry to subject y'all to this, but please show the people what they're getting into here. That is it, if you got it.
Technical difficulties. Small ones, but technical nonetheless.
Now, on first look, like part of what had me interested in the game was, seeing what looked like an older, or at the very least a more grown up Musashi. They were definitely going after that more cell shaded look, like most PS2 RPGs of the time, like Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarter. But like even now, just watching it, you don't get that same. I mean, there's a few, like, I guess, vestiges of Brave Fencer's UI, and a little, there's essence of Musashi in there, and then comes the motorcycle.
I think what really is missing in this game is the charisma of Musashi of the first game. Like, he was a character. He, what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Baby Goku, right? He was like that, like, adventurer, and he was like, he had like charisma, and and this one just didn't have it. They were trying to go with like edgy, and I was like, this is not the Musashi I remember.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel. Very similar. I have a very deep look right here, right here past my boob. Inside is my stupid ass Grinch heart. Okay, right. And I have a very special place in my heart for Brave Fencer Musashi.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He reminds me of my son. Right. He's just a talented, big-headed weirdo. Like, that kid's head is huge. I love my son, and I love Brave Fencer Musashi. They both have ginormous fucking craniums, right? They doing some big think with it. So when Legend came around, I was juiced up. I was like, yeah, boy, we about to get right back on that good. Played it, and I was just like, you know what? I turned to Brave Fencer Musashi Legend and said, you're adopted, and just walked off. You're like, what? No. I told that game to kiss my ass in about 2 hours. I was done with it. I was like, this isn't anything like the original. Why would you do this? Oh my god.
And the charm of the game wasn't there.
It's not there.
There's one more thing I can mention about what I remember of playing this game at first. After the 2 hours, I put back in Mega Man X7.
Damn.
That's a burn.
But you know what?
Burn to the ground.
Let me say something good about it. Man, that box art, and just how it came presented, tight. It was all shiny and shit. It's good box art. I just liked it. I liked the visual, but it is not what I thought it was. No, not at all, man. Like,
I think I have one here. I'm gonna find it.
Oh, if you do, because it's like, no, it's real. It's just it's clean. It's real clean. It felt special. It betrayed what was inside of it. There's a big old bamboozling of epic proportions.
Oh yeah. But again, it's with everything that I could say criticizing the game, it was still a learning experience, because it gave an inkling of what a sequel could have been.
I like that you said inkling, because it sounded like ankling, and I was like, oh man, somebody fell off something.
Oh, it's the wrong game. It's Devil Summoner. Sorry. That one was foil too, apparently.
Yeah, that foil box stuff though is just it's amazing looking. It's the shimmer on it was just incredible.
But hey, that's the thing about the memory card Chronicles. It's not just positive memories, but it's cautionary tales too.
Yeah,
it's just memories. That's truth.
the next one I have a pretty positive memory about, and I always consider this to be one of the best Final Fantasy games ever played. And this was Oliver's choice for the 15th or for the 17th.
Yes.
First.
Final Fantasy 12. This is another game that I think I think it's fair to say it's very divisive. It threw people off a lot. Like, instead of just like, you don't have like you don't have a clean through line of people going, oh, I fucking hate this game. But I think it stands as one of the best examples of never judge a console hardware generation by what you saw at the beginning.
Oh, God.
Right?
Mhm.
Because what did we have at the beginning of the PS2? We had Evergrace.
We had
Fantavision.
Eternal Ring.
Eternal Ring.
and Street Fighter
Dark
EX.
Cloud. Right? And it's like, they were incredible looking games compared to the PS1. Full stop. Right? Not even a question. But by the time we got to the end of the PS2's life cycle, we kicked out Final Fantasy 12. It's like, damn, how did y'all do that? And if I look up the RAM of a PS2, it's so absurdly low that you'd just be like, I don't even know how you pulled off any of this wizardry in the first place.
Yeah.
Wizardry. That's the best way to put it.
32 megabytes. Like, what? Yeah. 32 megabytes of RDRAM and 4 megabytes of embedded DRAM for the graphics. Like, what? Like, yeah, not gigabytes, megabytes. And
Listen, y'all,
Final Fantasy 12 comes out, and just look at this nonsense. Look at it. It's great. Look, it's fucking great. It's beautiful.
Seeing this game made me really hopeful for a Vagrant story. See,
You know. And so with Final Fantasy 12, I remember getting that. That was like one of the last times someone got me an actual video game as a gift for some damn reason. No, people don't. Like, that's my one thing. I love video games. Nobody buys me them. It's like, I don't know what he wants for his birthday. I'm like, bitch, I've been playing video games for like almost half a century. How do you not know what I want? Right? But look at this. You got Vaughn, you got Pinello there. Now, I think what we're watching on screen, I think we're actually looking at this running on an emulator, but
It's upscaled.
yeah, it's upscaled, but that's still how the game looks, right? It had an incredible combat system that still, straight up, I think that BioWare took from Final Fantasy 12 with their whole gambit system here, which is really, it's low key scripting is how you play this game, right?
Mhm.
It's, you learn your commands and you learn different combat actions, and then you assign, they called it gambits, but basically you assign the conditions in which characters will use those skills. So you don't really control them directly. You kind of more manage the overall flow of the fight. In a way, I guess I would really kind of call it almost a kissing cousin to an RTS, right? Where you don't necessarily command the troops on the ground, but you are controlling the flow of a fight. And the thing that made the gambit system so cool in Final Fantasy 12 is that they just let you do what you could do within its limitations. If you set things up right and you daisy chained this character's gambits off of this character's gambits, you could effectively script this game, put the controller and walk away from it for 12 hours, and you come back and they're still whooping ass, right? Like, they're just automatically just tapping people up. No, it was great. I still need more of the list.
I was gonna say, if you fought the Doom Dragon, that's exactly what you did.
Mm-hmm. We got to have it. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. Caught a remaster too, right?
Yep.
Which was
Zodiac
based on the Zodiac International job system, where they kind of revamped all that because we broke that game so much.
Yeah.
But I consider Final Fantasy 12 to be one of the last true Final Fantasies, in my opinion, right? Like, yeah, it's not our old classic turn-based, but I think from 13 forward, regardless of how everyone feels about those the any game past 12, I think we can all agree that things have gotten weird, right? They've gotten weird. Like, sometimes weird good, sometimes weird bad, sometimes just generalized weird, but it's gotten weird. And I feel like they've lost track of the identity of Final Fantasy as a brand overall. It's just me.
Yeah. No, I kind of get that. And I think that's why in 16 they kind of went back to the fantasy aspect of it, because they kind of went future on 13. And then, and then 14 was MMO, and 15 was like they have Cadillacs, and like they're gangsters. Like, what the heck? So it's good to go back to the fantasy aspect with 16. Also, guys, if you played 12, did anybody get the correlation between this and Star Wars? It was very close. Like, I mean, Balthier and Fran is Han Solo and Chewie. Princess Ash is Leia. Luke Skywalker is Bond. Bosch is Obi-Wan. Holy crap, there were so many. So
shit. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
I want to sleep with Chewbacca. What do I do? Oh no.
You're catching that same vibe like when I mentioned Coffee Talk, right?
Yeah. You wouldn't have ruined it for everyone. Thanks.
Well, I'll fix it by this next game with Fighters History Dynamite.
Yes.
For Ace's choice for the 17th.
Now, look, Jagos, I'm sure you can identify with this, but one of my favorite memories of my time in the mythical land of Southern California arcades was seeing all the different Street Fighter clones that had been cropping up in the 90s. Like, literally just, like, I'd go to an arcade, I'd go to a swap meet, I'd see a cabinet for Street Fighter 2. I'd see a cabinet for Art of Fighting. I'd see a cabinet for Time Killers. I'd see World Heroes. And then I'd see Fighters History. And I'm like, that right there is, like, legally distinct Street Fighter. And I absolutely had a ball just like comparing the characters between the two. And when Fighters History Dynamite came out, that was basically the Street Fighter 2 Turbo of the Fighters History franchises. Because it's literally like, the same roster from the first game plus the 2 hidden bosses from the first as playable characters, in addition to 2 more new characters. So it was basically Turbo. But one of the beautiful things about Fighters History, though, is the fact that on each character, there's a specific weak point. And if you hit that with enough attacks that land at that weak point, that's when you'll cause the dizzy. Like Mizoguchi's headband, for example. If you tag him with enough high attacks or enough jumping attacks, that headband will come off and he'll be stunned. And, there's your additional layer of strategy and, of course, your extra damage. Now, just like with Super Street Fighter, Fighters History Dynamite also introduced super moves for the characters as well. Like what you might have just saw Mizoguchi pulling off. But, yeah, like this one here holds a special place for me because, I just... Again, it was budget Street Fighter 2, and I just had a ball with it.
Isn't this Power Instinct in the US? Like, they changed the name to this, right?
No. Actually, in the US, it's Karnov's Revenge.
Oh, and Karnov is actually has its own game.
Yep.
Right. So he was also in Bad Dudes.
The guy that breathes fire?
That's him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's actually right there in the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hell,
that's cool.
That's weird.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Power Instinct, another Street Fighter clone that I saw.
I think it's because he's from Data East, and Data East, like their characters, kind of like Capcom crossing over a lot of their characters also. Yeah. So because he showed up in Bad Dudes also. Remember that game, Bad Dudes? So.
Yeah, I'm bad enough to rescue the president.
Hell yeah.
Hamburger. I have to hear about it like 3 times a month.
Well, here's a game that you got to be a bad dude to play right here. Next one on the list, Monster Hunter Double Cross. I love that title, Double Cross. Gen Ultimate, coming out on the 3DS in Japan in 2017. This is the Switch version.
I'm mad because they cooked. They cook with that name. Come on. You don't have to fucking play the game. You'd be like, no, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So, super fast originally, right? The original version of the game is Monster Hunter Cross, and we were like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's the cross actually represents, the X as is Japanese stuff goes. In this case, it's an intersection point of 4 generations of Monster Hunter history, right? So when you play Monster Hunter Cross or Double Cross, we talk about the Fated Four. There's 4 separate flagship monsters that represent each of those generations and all the places that we'd been up to that point. It was just a very, very different, deeply designed game. We had entirely different fighting styles. Instead of a new weapon, it's like, oh no, you could have guild style, or you could have aerial style, where no matter what weapon you're using, you could launch yourself into the air, right?
Go
There was
on.
like a striker style. It was insane stuff. This
Yes.
was like the big love letter to everything that had happened, up to this point in Monster Hunter history. And of course, this came out in 2017 before we knew that Monster Hunter World was even going to happen,
Oh,
right?
and I noticed on the cover that the one monster that I've been chomping at the bit to fight outside of Rise, my boy Valstrax.
That damn fool. this fucking lunatic, right? You're like, is that a plane? And you're just watching this thing, and then the next thing you know, you getting your shit rocked. But yeah, so this was the very last of the old style of Monster Hunter. That, as I said, this was very much so a love letter to everything that they had done up to that point. The roster is just gigantic. You'll be there forever, right? You sit down, you play that. No, you're gonna be there for a while. But it's so cool to sit down and you can go back to Poke Village, you can go back to Kokoto, you can go back to all these places, you can go back to the very first village from the very original game in there. And of course later on they do actually go ahead and port this to the Switch, and it was just kind of like so many of us were so angry and so frustrated about what was going on with the franchise, not realizing that bam, come E3 this same year, they go, oh yeah, by the way, I'm like, man, I don't know what this game is. Those graphics look fucking great. That's a big ass sword on that dude's back. I know, I swear, I know that sword. That's the Jawbone sword from Monster Hunter. But this isn't Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter looks like a PS2 game for eternity. Bam! Oh, it's Monster Hunter World, and we're all going screaming and shit.
That was
right?
pretty
But
fire.
still,
Yeah.
but it's totally the game. Like if you're gonna play old Monster Hunter, people are like, which should I play? Stick to Monster Hunter Generations here. That's what we called it, because at that point in time we didn't even get regular just Monster Hunter, or no, we did get Generations and Gen Ultimate. Sorry, the naming structure messed me up. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
That's the selling point for Monster Hunter Double Cross.
Man, you're gonna be there for a while, right? Like, don't play nothing else. Like, don't make a schedule, don't date, don't have kids, do nothing. You'd be like, I'm gonna go back to college. No, you're fucking not.
We're in college now.
You're gonna be there.
That degree gonna have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, so you got one for the 19th, and this one is a classic, arguably the first of its kind that I played. I skipped the first one and went straight to this.
Yeah, I've got a good number this week. But yeah, March 19th, Japanese release. And this was actually at a time where it didn't take very long for games to get localized or translated and shipped across the seas. So next month, the US will be getting it. But March 19th, Metroid 3, a.k.a. Super Metroid. Now, man, this game is definitely one. This is one of the Super NES games that my brother and I sat down and played religiously. I mean, the only game that we played together more was Chrono Trigger. And just seeing how the series had evolved since playing it on the regular Nintendo, since playing my own copy on the Game Boy for Metroid 2, and then seeing this in color and seeing, you know, hearing that narration at the start going, the last Metroid is in captivity. I'm like, oh, this is a sequel. And then everything goes sideways. It's like Metroid Die Hard, and you're just dropped right back into the action. Like this right here is if we want to talk about, a collection of the games that made us as individuals and as gamers, Super Metroid is definitely up there on the list for me.
I thought it was very cool that it's like it started with an ending, right? And then then the game started. Like that was like crazy to think about, like as a storytelling like feature when you're a kid. Like you don't really experience that. I know I didn't, right? And this part right here was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, dude, is this it? Am I dead? Like, and it was just like crazy. Like there was a lot of this stuff happening before. This was the first time I experienced that. That was my memory. It was just a big adventure after that. It was great. What, you all play Metroid at all?
Oh, I want. Look, here's all I got to say about Super Metroid. 2 things. Okay, 3 things. One, the very thing we're seeing on screen right now. Like, there was something about the Super Nintendo era and emotional visual storytelling that will never let me go.
That's it.
And
right
watching that, like, Samus is losing. She's getting fucked up. And then watching that baby Metroid get killed and watching Samus go hard in the fucking paint, no, that's going to mess me up for the rest of my life. I'm still fucked up, and I did this shit when I was like 12. 2, fuck the super jump, because I could not. It took me like a year with no guide, because remember, we're from the Stone Ages of gaming, where it was called figure it the fuck out.
No manual.
No, if you didn't have the manual, it was your ass. Like it would like get rich or die trying. Like no, get smart or die trying. Like that was it. And I could not figure out how to do that super jump. Every time I would get in that pit with the fucking bird, okay, and it would show the bird doing the run, and it would take off, and I didn't know what the fuck it meant, so I would just fall in this hole, and I would just be stuck because I'm an idiot. Right? And it was a complete accident the day that I figured out what the fuck that bird was doing. I was just pushing anything, and I was like, saw that bitch go, start charging up like the Flash. I was like, wait, hold up. Something's cooking here. Now, the joke is this. To this day, I'm still not 100% sure how I do wall jumps. I just know that I do. This makes me mad. This is the first time I've admitted it. I'm like, hey man, I just barely survived that shit. And then point 3, I will fight anyone on the street. Bare knuckle boxing. I'm talking real Fight Club. We don't wear shoes here. Over the best fucking music in this game is the Criteria theme. Oh man, it gets me juiced up right here underneath the ribs where the fighting gland is. Right? Just that low key bassy shit in the background. Oh man, I don't care. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard in a video game, and it has nothing to do with nothing. It's just general background music. You land down on the planet, hey, you turn the lights on, click click. Is anybody fucking home? Next time you go back to the ship, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, woo, man, who are we go? My heart gets going. I'm like, damn, we're on the march.
It's like, who are we killing?
Where are we marching? No, it's absolute cinema. Don't care.
I agree. Can't top that. Can't top that. That was pretty good.
It's
He good.
Sweaty.
Well, I mean, the game you picked next on the 20th makes me sweaty. So, man, feel free to talk about it all you want.
All right, kids, it's that
SOTN.
time.
Strap in.
Let me make it personal. This is the personal story of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So, to talk about Symphony of the Night, we got to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, and here's what's true. I'm gonna make it fast. Castlevania 1 will whoop your ass back when developers hated kids. That game will steamroll your ass into the ground. Don't even fuck around and start jumping. Don't jump because you ain't recovering from that jump. Once you jump, you you're in God's hands now. It's jumping in the original Castlevania is the 1980s equivalent of Jesus take the wheel. Because oh boy, that game required a level of precision that surgeons don't have to have today. So if anyone tells you they beat the original Castlevania, you put some respect on that person's name before you even address them. Then Castlevania 2 switched it up in a really interesting way. They made it more open. It wasn't you weren't restricted by time. Castlevania 2 is conceptually one of my favorite games of all time, and and I'm saying it for the first time publicly ever. Castlevania 2 scares the shit out of me. It's a game that actually scared me badly as a child. I had nightmares about
8
that
bits.
game.
8-bit graphics scared me. Yep.
8 bits, 8 bits of graphics, having a fucking curse, because I knew what a curse was, right? You know, a little itty bitty OBC, but no, I knew bad things were happening. And the password music is just some of the most spooky shit. So, that said, watching Captain N was very traumatizing.
Oh no!
Every time they bring that shit up, my little hands get to trembling and shit, right? Trying to eat my fucking morning cereal, got the shakes. I don't know why. It just scared me. Like little kid stuff, right? But no, seriously, I do think that Castlevania 2 is really great. It's also famous for being same thing. We fucking hate kids. You ain't ever finishing this game without reading no damn guide. How was I supposed to know I need to go and crouch next to some random ass wall and all that? But it did set the stage for what we know as Castlevania today. And we hit the peak, the pinnacle of that design right here with Symphony of the Night. I still go back, I play this game probably twice a year just because. And in all that time, all that Castlevania, it's something me and my big brother would always do. We always played Castlevania. And so when I was about, let's see, I was about 14, 15 years old, right? He was a grown man at that point, married, and every weekend he'd come by my house, pick me up, right? He would go out, rent a PlayStation, because we're that fucking old. You could do that kind of shit. Right? You could go into a Blockbuster, you could go into a Hollywood Video and rent game consoles to go along with your games. And this was the one. This is the one. We had a strategy guide for this bad boy that was so thick, right? The amount of sheer shit that it covered. But this is, again, just one of the perfect games that has ever been made. And not because it's bug free. No, in fact, it's amazing even with its bugs. Right? The bugs give it the character, it gives it its charm. You know, there are people still discovering new things about it to this day. Iga was really on some shit when he made this game. I realized how that sounded. I'm like, oh, wait. I know. You know, Bloodstained is a fun game, but it's no Symphony of the Night. He peaked right here. Come on, look at Alucard. This motherfucker shimmered just by existing, right?
Yeah.
He'd be doing that dope ass backslide, right? It's a crazy game.
How many frames of animation is that? That's crazy. You know?
Right. It's incredible. Not to mention the fact that we all sat down and got bamboozled. We're like, yes, okay, we're not dealing with Dracula this time. We're gonna go deal with Shaft, or we're gonna go deal with Richter, right? And you're like, oh yeah, I killed Richter. And you're like, I finished the game, and you find out, no, you fucking didn't. You're like, yeah, I did 100% of the castle. You're like, did you go to the other castle? What other castle? Oh no, there's an entire flipped fucking castle. So now you get to play the game twice for free. Holy shit, that's amazing. No, it's incredible. And then of course being able to play as Richter and all that other stuff, it's a game that just kept on giving to you. Right? That's what makes it special. And every time they re-release it, unlike other games where people are like, oh, look, there's Todd Howard re-releasing Skyrim again. Every time they re-release Symphony of the Night, we all go, yeah! yeah. We're like, what'd you do this time? They're like, yeah, you know what? We tightened up the graphics and shortened the loading time. So we're like, thank you. Oh, hey, we re-recorded the dialogue. You know what? We love what is a man,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we still appreciate you going, yeah, let's re-record this because that shit kind of sounded real fucking corny in the 90s. We're like, yeah, but it's still fun. We're not even mad. We're like, it's different. It's just one of the all-time greats. You're never going to miss with this one. Although, I can tell you something funny about what we see right there, and then I'll stop. So, that enemy got its name like switched, crossed over and backwards. So that enemy that was just killed by Alucard on screen, he's called Cthulhu, even though he's not Cthulhu, right? Look, that's just a guy. It's just a guy. But there's another enemy with a similar body type that is Cthulhu, but that guy's named Malachi. I don't know how they messed up the names with those, but it's not until a different release that they actually switch it back around so to where they're right. It's
Oh wow.
very, very peculiar, right? Like I said, there's a lot of bugs with Symphony of the Night, and I don't think any of us should get that twisted at all, right? It's buggy. You can go outside the castle. The game breaks in amazing fucking ways. We all know about keeping the starting equipment, which is overpowered by basically abusing the luck system and bypassing the Grim Reaper entirely. So he's like, man, let me tell you something. When I see that Alucard kid, it's his ass. And next thing you know, he's killed Dracula and didn't even do it. That he's like, where the fuck were you? He's like, I came in the back door. It's like Barney. It's like Barney getting thrown out of Moe's and he's behind Moe. You're like, it's like that though. Sauton's the great.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Ace. So yeah. Any other like I guess highlights for you on SOTN?
I mean, aside from this being another all-time banger, another all-time classic, this is actually one of the earlier games that I streamed on the channel back when I first started. Back when I first started streaming. Like, again, this was like 2014, 2015. Oliver had that Alienware Steam machine that he didn't need, so he's like, "Hey, here you go." And I'm like, "Ooh, let me see what I can do with this." First thing I did was download a PlayStation emulator. First games I got were Parasite Eve and this, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna relive my glory days."
Yeah, this game
and the rest is as you see.
This game is peak. One word. All I gotta say to chat. I'm gonna type it in there. If you guys know what weapon that is, this is the weapon that breaks the game for every character, for every player. So check that out. If you guys haven't discovered it yet, please discover it. It's a different game. It's like Mega Man being able to shoot vertically.
Now here's the thing. Here's what kills me. I'm always the guy. Everyone says that weapon. I'm like, fuck that weapon. I'm like, no, strongest shit in the game is that fucking Alucard shield. You killed Dracula in 3 seconds.
With the wand, or
yeah, with the shield wand. You take that.
With the shield wand. Yeah, that's right. No, I agree with you.
I'm just run through. Here's why. I love doing it because you don't have to hold the shield out perpetually.
Yeah.
So I'll just run up on motherfuckers and clip them with the elbow and just go pop, and you just explodes into blood. I'm like, oh, that's rad.
Yep.
But
it's pretty busted.
But that sword is deeply iconic. I can't deny that. People love that fucking sword, man. Right? Because it's so peak anime.
There's your Cthulhu, aka Malachi.
There he is. I told you. It's the thing. It's weird.
Oh yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it turns it into Contra, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does.
That sword turns the game into Contra. So, see, guys, we all have different experiences, and we love the game differently, right? This is what Gamer Quotient's all about. This is what this segment's all about. Tell us what your favorite part of Castlevania Symphony of the Night is, because I'm sure you've played this at least multiple times. So, fantastic.
Andre makes a really good point. A very good point. If I recall, there was some issues with them trying to get Symphony of the Night out because Sony really wanted people to spend their time showcasing the 3D effects of the PlayStation, and they thought that few people would have any interest in 2D games on this 3D hardware, right? And so that's why there are a certain amount of 3D effects in Symphony of the Night in the first place, like when you open up doors
Mhm.
and things like that, and the
Coffin.
crazy, yeah, right, the coffin and all that other stuff. That was to pass
Yeah.
the specifications that Sony had laid out at that time, right? And then obviously the game comes out and it's an absolute banger, and they're like, okay, maybe we need to relax on that shit a little bit. But yeah, that is why those 3D effects in the game are even there, because they were like, we don't want to make a 3D game, and they were like, oh, you gonna, and they're like,
Split the difference.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I think this game, and we're spending extra time and love on this one because this game clearly means a lot, and I think also means a lot to the industry. This is a pure case of like, you don't need the best graphics, to for a game to succeed. This is like a great idea. It's implemented well, right, with different experiences from every player that's touched it. Right, there's many ways to play Castlevania, and there's no one right way to do it. Last week we talked about the meta. Dude, the meta can go out the window with this game. You play however you want. You want to play barefisted? Please do.
It's true. There's
Focus,
basically no
baby.
wrong way to play Symphony of the Night. There really isn't. You can do some absolute nonsense, right? Trying to catch some fucking peanuts in your mouth.
Look, seriously, I am a Fist of Tolkis main. Like
To no one's surprise, Ace.
Exactly, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Like I will go slaps in the stacks with Dracula, and that'll be the end of that.
All right. Well, let's go to our last day here. And this one is my pick. And this one is actually monumental for the Headmaster. Ironically enough, it is a Muso game. Warriors Orochi came out in 2006 on March 21st. And this one is special. And I have a little story behind this as I pull up the gameplay footage here. And I want to make sure it's the first one, because there's a lot of videos for the second one, but the first one's kind of rare because it was on the Xbox 360, but I specifically got the PS2 one because the Headmaster did not have a PS2 or 360 back in the day. He was just a dude in college. All right. So Warriors Orochi is kind of a monumental game for me because when I decided to move back to Washington, being originally from Chicago, I decided to go back to college. And in college, I had very little resources, right? And I still had my PS2. Matter of fact, I think I had my PS2 regular just had broke. The disc reader just stopped working. You know how that was. And I just finally got my hands on a slim PS2, which was like super tiny. And I was like, this is crazy how small this is. It's like a CD player. And that was all I could afford. And I only had probably 3 games on the PS2. And I took 2 years off gaming. I wanted to better myself, right? So I focused on myself, didn't play video games, and decided to come back. Now, during that time, before I took that break, I was a fan of Dynasty Warriors all the way up to 3 and 4, right? And then many had passed after that. Coming back to it, I was like, well, what's new? I didn't know. I wasn't keeping up with the trend. And I heard that there was a game that had merged Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors together. And I was like, what? That's real? Yes, it was. It's called Warriors Orochi. And this game, arguably, is probably one of my last PS2 games I'd ever purchased because it was definitely on the tail end of the PS2, and it was a really hard son of a gun to find. I actually had tracked this game down to the local GameStop in the mall. One copy in every GameStop. This was the only copy until Seattle. And there's at least 10 GameStops in the way. So I had to get it. I came in there, ran in. I was like, hey, I heard about this game. Do you guys have it? They're like, yeah, we have one. And keep in mind, 360 was the hot system at the moment. So this was this was just tucked away in the corner in the store. So I had played this game. I picked it up, and it instantly reminded me how amazing the Muso series was, and the memories that came flowing right back after the break I'd taken. So, when I say take your break, guys, come back when you're ready, this meant a lot more to me when I came back after a break of gaming and growing. right? So I still actually have this. And like I said, if I had this game on a timeline, like this is probably one of the last PS2 games I had purchased during that time. And was that 2006, right? So this is very memorable to me. I actually didn't even know this came out on the 360 till later, and that was pretty shocking. I'd love to come back to that as well, but I'm pretty sure this is on Steam now, right, guys? Is it on?
I don't think the original's on Steam.
Okay, so this is actually even more magical that you could only play it on a PS2. So this is just my take on this, and this was my official return back to video games after taking a 2-year break from moving to a different city and back to a city, and then going to college and finishing college, and then back to gaming. So yeah, Warriors Orochi 2, and hopefully you guys out there have your own monumental game. If you'd like to share with us, put it on the Headmaster's desk. I'd love to talk about that with you guys and why it's important to you. So I'll take it back to the panel. Do you guys have a monumental game that you'd like to kind of share with us real quick?
Monumental.
Well, outside of Castlevania and Super Metroid, I'll be.
Just in general?
I think something that resonates with you the most, like this one was my return back to gaming after a while. Like it's not like my most favorite game. It's just a checkpoint in my life that I really made a change.
For me, even though I don't play it as much as I did, back then, a couple of years back, one particularly monumental game for me is actually going to be Phantasy Star Online 2.
Okay, on the GameCube?
No, PSO2 on the PS4 and PS5.
Oh, PSO2. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, not also. That makes sense. That makes sense, though. I see where the confusion came from.
Yeah.
For me, it's like PSO2 was the first game. It was literally the first game that I installed, and the first game that I sat down and started playing as I was recovering when I was staying with Duder for that month.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, monumental. Sure. Okay, real quick one. Monumental. Easily. Star Wars Galaxies.
Okay. All right. Share.
Look, let's put it this way. So we talked about the original Monster Hunter coming out, right? What was that? Was that last week's episode or the one before that? Right. But yeah, I covered that, yeah. And I'm playing that, and then a few months later, Star Wars Galaxies comes out, and then 6 months later, I meet my wife through Star Wars Galaxies.
Monumental.
Monumental, right? So the big-headed child only exists because of video games, right? No, it's no matter how much bad shit went down with Star Wars Galaxies and how it never got the justice it deserved, I still consider it a peak as far as MMOs go. If people don't know this, just a random throw out there, they did finally finish the Star Wars Galaxies emulator project. They've worked on that for damn near 20 years, and they finally hit a 1.0 release with that. Yeah, they're like, nope, it's done. This is the pre-combat upgrade version of Star Wars Galaxies. And all the work that they've done on that, it's just simply fucking incredible how much that they've done, which is why the wife and I were talking about, what if they ran that DLSS on SWG? I'm like, what the fuck? Because I've seen people do stuff like that before with the game already, right? Using NVIDIA stuff. So it's something interesting could happen. But no, I consider that to be the cream of the crop. I'm not even the world's biggest Star Wars fan, but I like games that are open and allow me to explore and decide how much I want to participate in it or not. Yeah. Right? It's great.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, because there was a portion of my time too where I dabbled in World of Warcraft, and I met so many wonderful people on WoW. So I didn't jump to it as much as Nick did, but I definitely had my share on experience with that. So got me through some stuff as well. So fantastic. All right, guys, that was your week in gaming history. Memory Card Chronicles. Never forget that tune. It is wonderful. All right, now there's a little bit of a break here in between, and so I will go ahead and give a shout out to Andre Venom 95 shirt. I saw the notification today. Thanks for picking up a shirt, bud. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Tell your friends, tell all your family members, whoever you want to share your gamer quotient love with. We'd appreciate that as well. So this week we are featuring the dynamic trio of Samurai Champloo because Nick was supposed to be here. It's one of his favorite animes, but hey, I'll take care of it for him. So before we move on to the next topic, I want to take a quick moment to talk about the official Gamer Quotient merch store. I actually officially changed the address from GQ Asian Dude to Gamer Quotient. So check that out. Should automatically send you there if you still have the old link as well. And if you're watching the stream right now, you're probably seeing the image on the screen. We got the Samurai Champloo crew rocking the Gamer Quotient shirts. Shout out to Andre for buying one today. I got Mugen bringing in the chaos, Jin bringing in the discipline, and Fu bringing in the vibes. And the one thing they all agree on is GQ Gamer Quotient, because every gamer has a different play style, but if the real stat that matters to you is your Gamer Quotient. Now, if you want to rep the brand, support the show, and upgrade your gamer drip, head over to the official shop. That's gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. We got Gamer Quotient shirts, the hats, the mouse pads, the tumblers, and even the stickers if you want to put the Gamer Quotient energy on your laptop, your console case, or your battle station. Now, if you want to level up your setup and support the Gaming Academy, go check it out. Again, that's gamerquotient-shop.fourthwall.com. And remember, what's your Gamer Quotient? Now let's get back to the class. So appreciate you guys as always. That's a very charming photo that I edited. So pretty great. I love it. All right. Nick is absent today, so there's no quick bites and rumor mill. Make sure you put that in the Discord that you love, quick bites and a rumor mill, and he'd love to come back to the show ASAP. But next, I'm ready for this one. Where's my button here? I gotta have it. It's always moving around. I gotta organize this a lot better. It's time for Oliver section. The Watchdog. Let's go. I got it. Oh, right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into those, because guess what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm padding for time. I'm padding for time, and here's how I'm doing it this week. I want to let's bring the Headmaster back up.
Yeah, you got
just
it.
Because I'm a goof ass. Can we all just agree that he looks like an adorable baby? He's just
what's funny is that I actually mentioned that to a friend's friends. To we were just chatting. I go, do you think like when kids see me, they think I'm like a giant baby? Like,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah,
you do. It makes me think of that movie from way back in the day, Baby Geniuses.
I'm just you guys know why I don't shave. I haven't shaved in 2 years, but yeah.
But this is why we had that old meme like probably a decade ago where it's like there's a reason guys just stop shaving because it's like you look all hardcore shit. I got this fucking scar on my face, so you shave and you just look like the cutest kid on earth. You're like, oh, do you want a pillow?
I tell a lot of my coworkers, like, they're like, hey, you look so different. You look so much younger because I'm like 45, I'm 44, and they're like, you don't look anything. And I go, yeah, I have the same disease as Benjamin Button. And 50% of the time they're like, what? That's real? and I kind of just giggle. And I go, yeah, it is what it is.
That's real? Yes.
I'm like 44 years old. Yeah, I'm getting younger as I get older.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. We're doing the same thing. We look like it's like we're like 10 years off. 10 years off. But God, I just want to come over there and pinch that fucking cheek right there. See that one? It looks so soft. Oh,
so over the weekend, I had called my mom because you should call, talk to your mom once in a while. And immediately I video faced her or face cammed her. She was like, "You look ugly." And I was like, "Mom, what the heck?" He's like, "Damn," because she was like, "You look like you just got out of prison." Wow. Okay. So I did it for her. I'm gonna, she's old. I'm gonna do it for her. So I was being a good son. It's
God.
it's like it's just like Asians have like a historical, like they don't like facial hair for some reason. I don't know why.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. Like
Yeah. I did it to make my mom happy. Now I'm a giant baby.
now you baby.
Just fired both girls though. Just
Yeah.
Mom.
We have a relationship like that. That's her way of like showing like she like close. She just says stuff like that to me,
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's great.
So that said, with the Watchdog, here's here's my my new bit. Okay, so when I started my game news career, I was a consumer watchdog, and sometimes we would run thin at the margins. Putting gas in the tank or making sure that everyone gets to eat this week takes priority. We have to make the responsible choice to be adults and take care of business first, and have fun afterwards when we can afford to do so. So when cash is tight but you still need to have fun, I try to find games for you that are a great value for the money that you spend. And here's the games that I found this week. Now, for the past couple of times that I've done this, the games have been like under $9.99. I've got a couple in here that were just just too good. Or no, excuse me, I have one in here that was just too good, so it is more than $9.99. But people are gonna have to bear with me on that one. You'll get an explanation as to why. So, starting with the Xbox, we've got Sinking City Remastered. Okay, not the original Sinking City, because I've already mentioned Sinking City on this before. But no, this is the remastered version plus the deluxe stuff, right? So all the good stuff in it for $9.74, right? Which
Really?
is great. Yes, $9.74, right? Then we have one of my favorite roguelikes of all time, Moonlighter, $2.99. And that game, oh, that's a riot. Like, no, that's it's so cute. It's so charming. Love it. Right? So that's what I found for the Xbox. Then when we get over to the PS4 and PS5, just PSN in general, I want to actually do the certified banger first, just because Ace is going to have a whole flip out moment. But you can get the Middle Earth Shadow Bundle, which is Shadow of Mordor complete and Shadow of War complete. All together, all the DLC, everything. $6.99. Paying $7.
On which platform was that?
PS4 and PS5. Yes, sir. The definitive versions as one. $7 damn dollars. You know how expensive McDonald's is these days?
Yo, that's crazy. It's cheaper than McDonald's.
No McRib for me.
Right? Like, fuck that McRib. I'm gonna go over here and kill me a bunch of orcs this week. Let's go.
That's 80 hours of gameplay, at least.
From McRib to Mansfield.
Right. Getting the dude with the fucking loot.
Yes.
No, it's great. You cannot go wrong with either of those games. They are best in class. They are some of the best in class games, especially when it comes to free flow combat, which Ace and I have talked about. Additionally, on this platform, this is the one that caught my eye. So the Resident Evil Remake Trilogy. That's Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 all together in one bundle for $35. So you're coming in just about a little over $10 for each game. If you like Resident Evil, you're not missing here, right? You can have a good time.
That's solid.
Again, McDonald's is fucking expensive. You trying to feed a family of 3 on McDonald's? Like, you'd be like, you know what? Let's just have some McDonald's, boy. You about to, you spending, right?
Yeah.
There's no make value here. I'm not loving it. I fucking hate it. I hate this shit. Over on PC with Steam, we've got Valheim, which was a survival-based game that was heavily based on Norse stuff. People were really hot on that for a while there, and I found that for $9.99, so $10 on that. I've played it; it's pretty decent. You can get up to some nonsense. What surprised me is Star Wars Jedi Survivor is all the way down, 90% drop from $70 to $7. It's $7
I'm
damn
sorry.
dollars.
What?
Yep.
Jedi?
You can get that on Steam. Jedi Survivor, the most recent, not Fallen Order. You like? Maybe you think of Fallen Order? No,
Nope.
Jedi Survivor is
Two.
$7,
Second
right?
one.
I hate that game. I hate that game. I played it all the way through, right? But I did not like it nearly as much as Fallen Order. But it is there. If that's your jam, you want to get in there and find out for yourself. I won't stop you, right? You're going to be there for a while. It's a lot of gameplay. It was very buggy when I played it when it first dropped, so that kind of informs my opinion on that. But I've seen other people's opinions of it go up over time, right? And then finally, for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, right? We're just going to kind of stick with just Square this week because they've got a whole thing going on. So Chrono Cross, which we just got done talking about, last week, Radical Dreamers Edition is $8. Which, if you've never played Chrono Cross, you definitely should, right? But then once you play it, never play it again. Don't do that, because that brain, it messes with your brain. It fucks with your brain chemistry. You don't come out right after that. It's like sometimes in time travel, and if you time travel too much, motherfuckers get the nose bleeding and they bleeding from their ears and shit. Yeah, Chrono Cross will do that to you. It'll mess with you. And then Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is $7.99, which I'm like, that's great. Love to see it. It's a decent remaster. And then finally, Final Fantasy IX. Not a Final Fantasy I care for, but look, like I said, we were already there, and I was like, you know what? Somebody loves it. There's people who love Final Fantasy IX, and you can get that for $8.39. Why $8.39? I don't know. That's a very specific fucking number, but I was like, okay, it fits. So there you go. So if you haven't had an opportunity to play any of these games, now's the time to dive in. They're all well received. Thanks for listening to The Watchdog. Next week, there'll be more games and accessories that I've kept an eye on for you to try and save you some money. I'm going to start looking into more controllers and stuff. Just as an aside, I did see that Xbox controllers, so their series controllers, generally speaking, are floating around $50 to $52, depending on which one you get. Right? I couldn't find anything pinned down nice and hard, so I didn't want to devote a whole section to it. But I did see that they are generally on sale right now. So go dig around and see what you can find.
Sweet.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. That's the
now do the barking thing. Do the barking thing.
Let's go. You got it.
There we go.
Fantastic. All right. Well, this next segment here, the final boss, of course. I love this topic, and I want to go in on this topic. So let's get to the final boss, guys, and then let's chat about why games still matter. They still do. Okay, so why games still matter? There's a phrase many of us grew up hearing. Video games are a waste of time. I hear that a lot. My parents said that to me all the time growing up. Adults told me that frequently. Maybe you heard it from your parents, maybe from teachers, maybe from someone who just didn't understand why people would spend hours staring at a screen holding a controller. But the funny thing is, if you actually look closely at what games ask us to do, you start to realize something. Games don't waste time. They train the mind. Take a game like Portal. At its core, Portal is a puzzle game about physics and spatial awareness. But what it really teaches you is how to think differently about problems. The solution rarely comes from brute force. It comes from observation, experimentation, and sometimes stepping back long enough to see the puzzle from another angle. Does that sound familiar to you? Because that's the exact mindset people need when solving real-world problems. Look at a game like Monster Hunter. Nothing in Monster Hunter comes easy. You just don't walk into a fight and win, unless you're Oliver. You study the creature. You learn its movements. You prepare your gear. And that's when the hunt begins. Success comes from patience and teamwork. Monster Hunter quietly teaches us one of the most valuable skills in life. Preparation matters. Or take Papers, Please, a game where you play a board inspector checking documents. It sounds mundane, almost boring, but as you play, you start to feel the pressure of decisions. Do you follow the rules exactly, or do you help someone who clearly needs it? That game turns a simple mechanic into something deeper, a lesson about responsibility, ethics, and consequences. Even chaotic gamers can teach something valuable. Think about Among Us. At first, it looks like a simple party game, but underneath, it's about reading people, trust, deception, communication, the same social skills people navigate every day in life. And there are games that teach something even more important: perspective. Take Disco Elysium, a game where the most powerful mechanic isn't combat, it's conversation. The game challenges you to think about identity, failure, politics, and self-reflection in ways very few mediums attempt. It proves that games can do something incredibly powerful. They can make you think. And this is where the philosophy or gamer quotient comes in. Because GQ isn't about measuring how good you are at games. It's about recognizing what games teach you. Problem solving, critical thinking, observation, adaptation. The same skills that help people navigate life. Games matter because they give us something unique. They don't show us stories, they let us participate in them. They let us experiment with systems, make decisions, fail safely, try again, and learn in ways that feel natural instead of forced. When you approach gaming with intention, you stop asking, how many games did I finish? You start asking something better. What did I learn while playing? Guys, games still matter, and I feel like they will matter for the longest time, not because they help us escape the real world, but because they actually quietly teach us how to navigate it. And the more intentionally you play, the higher your gamer quotient becomes. And that's tonight's final boss. One of my favorite topics to chat about, and I would love to hear what everybody's got to say.
It's it's a topic that I haven't, directly discussed with. Well, it's a topic that I haven't really, directly put to words to discuss with people. But it's something that I guess you could say I've been living it, instinctively, pretty much ever since I started gaming. I always felt that, it's not, I'm not just sitting here pressing buttons for, hours at a time, or, it's not like, for me, it's not brain rot, right? It's active participation. It's learning. It's finding different ways to focus. And that's something that, that's the kind of thing that's always spoken to me. That's why that's why I play a lot of what that's why I play a lot of what I do. It's what's helped me analyze, not just how games operate and how games function, but I mean, again, that, that 3-point paradigm, synergy, sync, synergy, and strategy. That came about because I had spent so much time, just focused on how gaming actually, in a way, helps you rewire your brain in order to face various challenges. It's personal evolution that you have more of a direct hand in.
This is why you're the technician of applied sciences here.
I've written a lot of stuff on this subject before, and I think that video games have always gotten a bad rap. I've said it many times before. With having gamed for so long, I have this interesting perspective of time, And I think about so many things that I learned. I mean, plenty of us who love video games are also people who, unfortunately, were kids who were in GT programs in school back in the day. If you don't know what that is, those are gifted and talented programs. Things like
Yeah.
Odyssey of the Mind and so on and so forth. And there's a tendency where people who like to solve problems are drawn to video games because video games are literally problem simulators. It's really funny when you think of it like that, where Jack Thompson goes, this is a murder simulator. It's like, and I just got done saying, oh no, Mad World is absolutely a fucking, that's absolutely a murder simulator. GTA, you have a choice. No, in Mad World, that's all you're doing. But all games are problem simulators, right? There's some kind of problem, and you need to be the one to solve it. One of my favorite games just in recent history is like, it's absolute nonsense and it's a blast. Gas Station Simulator. That game had me in fucking stitches. Right, having to clean up, and I was having to put new tires on people's cars and give this guy his bag of Funyuns. I'm like, the fuck shit's closed. I'm tired of you people, and right, trying to sort that out. Or Cooking Simulator is a great one. I know that like the simulator craze kind of kicked off. I would say the big one was Goat Simulator, but then people started to take the ideas seriously, and so you've got these simulation games where you're having to think about how to actually do stuff that you normally never have to do in a video game, right? And they have this level of accuracy, and you end up learning some stuff in some really keen ways. Like, they're also, they're great fun to watch too, because when things go fucking wrong in a simulator game, oh boy, it's a goddamn catastrophe. Like, like a cooking simulator, man. I had to make this really complex meal, this really complicated order, and I played that shit like a boss. Look, I was locked the fuck in, right? Did that, bam, got the temperature just right, the seasoning, everything. I was like, yep, this is about to be 5 stars. Turned around with the plate, I had that bitch garnished up, hit the wall, and the plate fucking broke, and all that food hit the floor. I just sat the controller down. I did this. Okay. So I just decided to take 10 minutes. People were losing on stream. I didn't get mad. I didn't throw the controller. I was like, you know what? I fucking hate myself. There you go. it was, I did. I just went boop and just broke that plate. I was like, oh man. And I didn't have the time to start a new order before it expired. I was like, but that's what I'm here for. Guess what it taught me? It taught me to be fucking careful. It taught me to be careful. It taught me to double check my sight lines. It taught me how to make sure that there was nothing else in my way before I put the order up. Right? I learned a very valuable lesson from that horrible thing. And so many games do this exact thing that I'm telling you. You're gonna learn. Well, some of us are gonna learn. I just, little horror story, but we all remember when Breath of the Wild came out almost a decade ago. Yeah, you could be mad at me for that. That's yeah. You're like, pardon? It's like, yeah, that was like 9 years ago. So, world's gotten different. I remember watching someone. It was like another podcast, a duo, and this gal was talking about Breath of the Wild is a bad game. I was like, okay, let's find out why. And she was like, because I can't just go anywhere and do anything I want. And she went and she was fucking with some Lionels, right? And she's like, I don't understand why I can't win against that. It's like, well, the game is very subtly telling you you're not ready for this shit. Go somewhere else. Take your ass on, because you don't want to be playing with those guys. But no, but to her, this meant that the game was bad because she did not pick up the clue. She did not pick up the indicators that this is beyond your capabilities right now, right? You need to find the areas that are more in line and in tune with what you can do. It's it's like the whole thing that I just talked about with the homie doing the speed run on the demo of Breath of the Wild for the Switch 2. It's like, but that guy knows what he's doing. He's got experience. He knows exactly what he can and can't get away with. No one in their right mind should get off that great plateau and be like, I'm gonna go fuck up again. And it's like, boy, you haven't even eaten breakfast yet. Like, just you don't even have pants, Link. What are you talking about? Don't do that. Look, my man literally wakes up from a 100-year coma. He beat his ass into a century-long coma, and then he gets up like he's gonna go do something about it. Like, no, no. Link get, Link gets up with a pair of ratty pants, a tree branch, an apple, and a fucking prayer.
The
He's not
confidence,
equipped.
the confidence of this guy.
He came out. It's like, whoa, slow down, son. Like, why don't you take it one step at a time? You over here getting your ass kicked trying to tame a horse. You ain't fighting Ganon. You ain't doing that shit right now, right? How many times you get kicked by a horse in that damn game? I've gotten kicked by a horse. Just people have to find their gamer quotient. That's basically what it comes down to. You need to take games not as distractions but opportunities to learn, right? Because they're all learning opportunities, and they're great, literally great mental exercisers. I know I've been talking long on this one, but this is a big one for me, because here's your personal story of get people to play games. It might save someone. It is actually working on your brain. It's not a question of if. It's definitely happening. When I was 9 years old, my mother had one of the worst strokes that they've ever seen in medical history in this state. And it was a weird set of circumstances because she had the stroke at the doctor's office. They watched it happen in real time, and they couldn't do anything. They were like, well, all we can do is just like start setting up to stabilize and stuff like that. But they watched her have a stroke. They're like, this is crazy. This is unprecedented. We don't get to see things, an actual stroke happen in front of us. So it was just a bunch of people standing around watching my mom like, oh no, having this horrible thing happen. But after she had her stroke and, mental faculties were all messed up, she's still like crippled to this day from it. It's that bad of a stroke. We brought her home, and I would have to take her to her occupational and physical therapy and things like that. Yes, as a 9-year-old kid. But one of the ways that my mom got her mental faculties back, and I will forever be grateful to these people for making these games. You're not going to convince me that video games are bad. Tetris and Dr. Mario. Because we don't think about how much spatial reasoning you need to use to play those games, right? To be able to mentally rotate those shapes and commit to that action in your brain and then perform it in the game. It gave her time to slow down and think. And so we used a game genie that would prevent capsules and tetraminos from falling, so she could stop and think about it for a while and go, because her ability to understand cause and effect was damaged by this, right? And so they were like, you're progressing way faster than we expected to. What's going on? She's like, oh no, I'm playing video games with my son, right? And they're like, what are you doing? She's like, no, I'm playing Tetris and I'm playing Dr. Mario. And he sets it up to where I have the ability to just stop and think about what I'm doing so I don't get frustrated, because she would get so frustrated so fast. But as time went on, we would play more and more complex games. Shadowgate, Deja Vu, The Uninvited, things where you had to utilize logic. You couldn't just brute force your way through stuff. And I'm always going to be grateful to those games for giving my mom that chance to get, as close as she could mentally back to where she was. And I use those same games all the time. When I get stuck as a writer, oh yeah, no, I sit down and play a video game. Every time. Every time. With the books that I've written, sit down, play a puzzle game, play Catherine, right? You're like, wait, the one with the blonde girl with the big old breast assist? Yeah. That's one of the best. That's one of the best block games I've ever played in my life. Or I'll pop in Lumines, right? Do anything like that. Absolutely, games make you think, and games make you think if you choose to allow them to make you think, right? And you can tell who's thinking and who isn't, right? If they walk into a game and they get their ass kicked, you're like, oh yeah, no, sometimes that happens, right? But did they change strategy after a couple of attempts? Or did they realize they're in over their head and they need to back out and go somewhere else? Or did they just keep throwing themselves at the same problem, changing nothing, and then declaring, oh, it's bad? Well, it tells you all about that person. I'll tell you this, though. Fuck them and that stupid fucking pit in Super Metroid with the fucking bird and the super jump because motherfucker, I'm like 11 years old. Cut me a break. And you know what? While I'm here on the fucking Nintendo train, fuck that Super Metroid shit and fuck the Lost Woods in the first Zelda. Okay, you didn't tell me anything. I didn't have a manual. I just thought the game was broken. What is wrong with y'all? At least in Mike Tyson's Punch Out, when you got fucked up, you knew what you did. You're like, oh, you lost. Why? Because you got punched in your face. Like, even then, see that? There you go. That's proof. I don't even need to talk anymore. That's the proof. That's how you know they hate kids. Because you sent this little kid to fight a fucking 12-foot tall man whose fist is literally the size of his entire torso.
Mm-hmm. that was Nintendo subtly telling that they hate kids in Super Punch.
They're like, nope, we hate kids. We're gonna have Mike Tyson punch you in the throat.
Also, fuck the Lost Woods as an adult.
Yeah,
you don't need an age range for that segment.
Nope. Lost Woods and Ocarina of Time. That shit's fun, right? You even had a clue. You could tell if you stopped in front of the door, you edged up, you could tell whether or not you were going the wrong way or not. No, that original Lost Woods, they were like, yep, be stuck, right? How do I get to the next dungeon? Well, you need to find this one particular fucking bush on a particular screen, and then you need to take this candle, right? You got to do all this shit. It's like, oh no, you'd be stuck. I've said before, I think that you can trace the origin of Kickstarter all the way back to the NES. Just hear me out here, folks. When you think about Kickstarter, well, what is Kickstarter? It's crowdfunding. A bunch of people come together and put a little bit into the pot to help create a bigger pot for someone to be able to do something or make something, right? And I thought about this and I was like, guys that made Kickstarter and all that, those are guys that were playing video games way back in the 80s. Right? I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, Gen X people. Wait a second. This is how we did video games back in the day. We crowdsourced strategy, right? How, like, raise your hand if you didn't go to, or raise your hand if you went to school and there was always a round table of people talking about whatever the latest game was that was being played, and everyone was stuck on the same fucking sections, right? And one guy figured some shit out. Right, he figured out one thing, and another guy figured out another thing, and when we combined our forces, we became the Captain Planet of video games because we knew that they hated kids.
I was usually one of the guys figuring stuff out.
Bro,
right?
The third and then beat Battletoads together. That's what happened.
Man, that's the pinnacle of kid hatred right there, man.
Yeah.
Woo, fucking Battletoads. Every level is a trial by fire.
Yeah, you had to play that game per level. You can't play it as a game. You had to play it per level.
You had to take breaks on that shit. That Nintendo was so hot.
Yeah, man. The continue system was rough in that game for sure.
Oh,
I mean, it was not cool, Nintendo. Not cool.
You were getting beat up in that game by one of the hottest women I have ever seen in stupid space fiction. She's the evil queen, but she was smoking. Right? You're like, I don't even care that I'm playing as a frog.
Not as evil as that Turbo Tunnel. That's all I'm saying. That Turbo Tunnel was rough.
Oh man, man, and you get it's like Battletoads and Earthworm Jim kick the kiss my ass up to an entirely different level. Earthworm Jim is so cool, right? Yeah. Like as a stupid concept, you're like, oh, this is so fun. It's so silly, but boy, you get in there and you got to be in that damn bubble. Oh, with the cracks! Oh my god! Look, to be fair,
who made this?
It's no Ninja Turtles under the dam trying to disarm the bomb.
Oh, that was the OG. Yeah.
Right, that's the one where they're like, "Yep, we don't like you. We're not even sure we like Ninja Turtles. we don't know what we like anymore."
That's the thing too. When you made that mistake while swimming, you knew because it was loud when you got hit by those electric seaweed. That was crazy. It scared you as a kid too. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I feel you on that. Well, Guys,
great.
clearly lots of memories this week. Lots of good,
Oh, yeah.
lots of child hating memories from video games. So Nintendo, shout out to Nintendo. Also, shout out to Andre one more time for picking up his shirt. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. So, but yes, if you learn a lot about gaming, share that knowledge with people you know, because people need to know that gaming is not a waste of time. There's a lot of stuff you can learn from it. There's a lot of stuff you can apply to your real life. And and a lot of different games teach us many different lessons as well. So I just gave you a few there in the final boss. All right, that's all I got, man. Anybody else got any takeaways for the week before we call it quits?
I mean, this week's been pretty awesome. Not just with not just with the games, but also the conversations. Talking about like the kind of turning point that we're seeing the industry at this point. Between the Nvidia stuff and just everything that's been going on with investors and everything. We're really sitting at a crossroads here, and it's just we don't really know what's going to be around the corner.
Yep, I agree with you. I think they're going to learn it the hard way. I think they're going to learn that you make a fun game that everyone's going to play, and you're going to be the champion of the people, or you focus on making money, and you're going to burn people out because the competition is fierce out there, and you gotta drag people away from what they're playing now, and what's the value proposition for them from you taking away their hours and hours of investment on that one game, right? It's really your pull. Oliver?
I don't think I really have anything else this week except same thing. Be mindful. Be mindful of where you spend your money, kids. Right? Your time is valuable. Right? When we put on this show, we try to make sure that we're respecting your time, because you're giving that time, you're giving that attention to us, and so we want to make sure that we're giving you something back. But when you look at this industry and you look at what's going on, and I know a lot of people are in huge amounts of distress about the things that are happening. I mean, look, we talked about that DLSS5 and the AI integration and how uncomfortable it's making people. You just don't participate, right? That's how you save yourself. Take it from someone who's gone through his own kinds of stress because of video games, just working in the industry and trying to cover them and seeing, some of the insane backstabbing behavior that you'll see out of other industry professionals and things like that, right? The most powerful thing you can give yourself is stop participating in things. Walk away from anything that is causing you too much stress. Don't embed yourself into it further. Don't embed yourself into it more deeply. If a game is frustrating you, again, I dropped that plate and I said, okay, I'm going to take 10, right? I've done it before. People have seen me get frustrated on stream with the game. Just put the fucking controller down. Walk away from the game, right? No matter what it is, just put the controller down. Show some self-discipline, show some self-respect, and go, this isn't worth me getting worked up over, right? As I've said, we're post 40 here, right? So we fuck around and go to bed and everything's fine. You might wake up and that whole back just decides it's not going to work today, right? You be crawling on your fucking elbows trying to get anywhere because your back has gone out. I can tell you right now, you don't want to waste your stress on a game, right? They're supposed to be fun. Yes, they can be good stress, but you shouldn't be doing the bad stress where you clearly hate the experience. Just walk away from it, right? It's not that deep. Games can be deep, but you playing it isn't that deep. You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let myself cool on this for a while. Maybe let them patch it or do whatever. If you see a favorite company that you have and they're doing stupid shit, and you're like, I cannot believe they expect me to pay money for this. Guess what? Don't. There's two things. You can just do things and you can just not do things. Don't give them money. You're like, I don't like how this is going. I'm just not going to participate this time, right? Maybe a bunch of people agree with you. Maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. But you don't have to participate in that. Online discourse. People screaming at each other. Just watching that stuff happen on X all day, every day. Oh, it's horrifying, right? Watching people cuss out people that they don't even know, have never met in their life. I'm like, Kiss your mother with your mouth? With that mouth? Like, Jesus. No. Don't engage. Don't engage with them at all. Go, okay, they have their feelings, I have mine, and we're not going to suddenly change those by yelling at each other in this open public forum. Don't participate in it. You can just not do it. Right? You don't like games that are $70 or $80? You're like, I'm not paying that. Great. Do that. Don't pay it. Don't pay it, and then don't complain that you can't play it either. But I really want to play it. Then pay the $80. Like, that's it. Or wait for my fucking sales to go up and I'll tell you about it. I'm like, hey, they just dropped 20% off that bad boy. You pick that up for 60 bones now. Snatch it up. Great. Good. Right? Just know yourself, know your limits, and understand that your frustrations with the industry can be managed if you're willing to take the time to manage them. It makes gaming a hell of a lot more fun right now, for me especially at this age. I only play what I want to play. I don't play anything that people are going, this is the most popular and you must play. No.
Thanks.
And I have my opinions, right? I played through Elden Ring. I platted it. I did not like Elden Ring. I did not pick up Night Ring. I decided it wasn't worth my time, right? Just and it could be good. Maybe I will get around to trying it, but not right now, right? And that's one of those things. People just need to learn to step back and put a little more distance between yourself and the industry. Don't make it so deeply personal as an attack on yourself every time something weird happens, right? They're not making DLSS 5 to personally get you. That's not what they're doing. They're just trying to figure out how to do things a little bit more efficiently, stretch the resources a little bit more, right? And maybe get something halfway decent out of it. That's all they're trying to do. It's just a bunch of normal people like you, people like me, who are just like, I got an idea. I think this shit might work. And then they do it. And then sometimes those things, they work out really, really well. Like every console having some form of internal storage now, right? And then sometimes, they have an idea and it doesn't go well at all. And we call that 3D TVs and the 3DS effect and
High
on
guard.
live and high guard, right? Everybody's, how the young folks say, shoot your shot. Everyone, they're out there trying to do something, so you got to give them credit where they at least attempt, right? Like, well, they tried. It's like, you fucked up but you did try, and for that, we tip a fucking hat at you, right? That's commendable. But get a better idea, come back. Sometimes I've seen really, really, really good ideas that were just executed terribly. And Ace has heard me say this plenty of time on stream. I'm like, this game wasn't good, but I love the ideas here. Please try again. Like, don't be discouraged. No, take it back to the chalkboard. See what didn't work. Bring this idea back to the table because I think this is something that could really work. Happens all the time. So you make sure you give those companies and individual developers, give them the room and the grace to just still be people, right? And when I say the companies, I mean, the people that work there, not not the
Corporations are people.
like, but no, give these people the room and give them room to fuck up, right? Like, don't act like you didn't fuck up, right? But people jump at these companies like they're not going to make some kind of stupid mistake. Of course, they're going to make a mistake. They're all run by people, right? Like, just absolutely goofy people. Capcom, come on, man. They're still in a redemption arc, right? And I'm saying that as a Capcom creator, they're still in a redemption arc from everything that went rough in 2011, right? And everyone's like, okay, Capcom is okay, but they still getting their throat jumped down over de novo, right? It's like, you can't win them all, right? They're still getting their throat climbed down over Monster Hunter Wilds. It took them a year to sort out the problems with that build. Everyone's like, this game sucks. I'm playing on PS5. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, the graphics are all fucked up. I'm like, it looks pretty amazing for where I'm standing. People are so mad. I'm like, I told you not to get that shit on PC. I told you not to do it, but you didn't listen. But it's just give people that room and that grace. Try to treat things, as my final thought, try to treat it like Sean Murray. That man messed up with the launch of No Man's Sky. But given time, He made No Man's Sky great. Give everybody else that same amount of courtesy. Give them the room to fuck up and then the room to fix it, right? But if we immediately jump to, never-ending condemnation for eternity, what incentive do they have to do anything to please you? If there's no path to redemption, what is the point in trying to please you? Right? If you're just gonna hate, then just go be a hater, but hate in that general direction away from everyone else. Give them that room. Give them the grace to go, oh, I did this wrong. I understand why I did this wrong, and now I'm going to do it better. And the people that refuse to do better, just stop talking to them, right? Stop interacting. Just take your attention, that thing I said, and turn it to somewhere else. And that's it. That's my final thought.
Well said. Passionate, beautifully put. Take us home.
With lots of cuss words too. So, we talked about the industry and games, and we talked even more about the finer details just now. In the Headmaster's desk, we revisited moments from Memory Card Chronicles. We reminded ourselves why this medium still matters in the final boss. Gaming isn't just something that we do. It also teaches us. It sharpens how we think. It challenges us. It challenges the way that we adapt. And it shows us who we are when things don't go our way, like when I drop a fucking plate in Cooking Simulator. Sorry. But that's what Gamer Quotient is all about. Not just how well you play, but what you take with you when you're done playing. So as you go into your week, ask yourself, what did you learn from the game? And how are you applying it to your life? Because that's how you level up, and that's how you increase your Gamer Quotient.
All right. Well said, guys. Thank you. And that's tonight's show. And here it comes.
I'm going to go find out.
Well done.